So, tell me, how does a composer turns to be a president?
It was not easy, so for many years I was completely out of politics. But I was also always keeping eye on what's going on, and especially due to my legal profession, due to my participation in creation of different laws in Croatia, I was little by little involved in politics. So, as a relatively old member of parliament, I decided to run for presidency. I had support of Social Democrat Party and of many citizens. It's not easy to combine all these things, but after I became president, I had to forget all the other things. So I'm not composing anymore, I'm not writing books, legal texts and the other, and I hope when I finish my mandate I'll be back.
You do not have a lot of experience in politics. You haven't been in politics for many, many years. And today, politics is a very, very tough business. How can one survive without being a professional politics in this time of age?
So, I think Croatia is a very specific country. Croatia is a newborn country that's building its democracy, and we are running pretty good. So, after 20 years of our statehood, definitely our public opinion wanted someone who is not classical politician, just involved in politics, but someone who can offer something else. So the constitutional position of the president is very specific. In my country, president has relatively few executive powers in military, secret services, foreign policy, but not daily politics. And probably that makes easier. But from the other side, there is responsibility to motivate the government and opposition as well to cooperate with government and with opposition to gain the most important goals in our society. As example, the biggest goal now for Croatia is how to join EU. It's a big project. It's a really big project for the country that just finished the war. It's 15 years ago, and for the state it's just like this moment.
Joining the EU looks today a bit like joining the party a little bit too late.
Probably from financial side, because the European fund devoted to new countries, new members are more moderate, let's say, than before. But it's not too late to join Europe. Europe is a very important project for not only for particular countries, but for all people in Europe, because a new globalized world is going to be structured as a competition between big societies, European, American, Asian, African, and those countries who decide to stay separate will be lost in this. And for my country, it's very important to join EU because we had to fulfill different criteria, and during negotiations, Croatia really became better society. Our democracy is improved, our economy is like European, not the best one. But the other aspects of our society are really improved.
Yeah. Previously in a conversation when I asked you about joining the EU, you talked about improvement, and then you said when you join the EU, you also have to deal with corruption, which is something that previously, before you were president, in your previous occupations, you were focused on. Can you tell us what are you doing in this respect, and why do you think it's a key issue for Croatia?
Unfortunately, the war and the crisis is an environment when corruption usually flourish. And that unfortunately happened in Croatia as well. And especially during the procedure we had, it was transition from socialist society or communist society to society of free market, and we had to privatize our economy. And during privatization, there were misuse of power. And quite important number of our enterprises were just robbed, not privatized but robbed. And that caused economic consequences for the state, but even more important is that moral side of this process, because the message that was coming from this type of privatization was destroying our society. It's not important whether you are capable, if you are working hard, but it's important to participate in the government and to misuse the power. And now, decisively, in Croatia, we opened the processes. We have many former ministers, even former prime minister under criminal process, under investigation, even under trial. And that is causing dramatical changements in our society. And we are on a very good track.
So you think the problem of corruption was rooted in the privatization of the last 10, 20 years, and it's not something that has his roots somewhere
No,
earlier?
it was, I think, originally generated from the chaos during the war, and probably the biggest mistake was to enter this process of privatization during the war.
Okay, and how do you measure the improvement that you are doing in that respect?
So, it's measurable by criminal investigations, by judgments, by relation between public opinion and government and corruption. And now, definitely, we have zero tolerance on corruption. It happens, of course, in any society. It happens, but now we have really zero tolerance, from the very bottom to the very top.
And you know, we see some booming economies around the world that are have a very high degree of corruption that's still booming. Do you see a very strong correlation between your efforts of bringing down corruption and the ability to have economic progress, or is it more of a moral issue?
It's not just moral issue, because moral issue generates efforts in economy. So it's very important to have clear situation, because especially foreign investors are not willing to come to the state and to the society with high corruption. It's cost for them. So if we avoid corruption, we are going to be a country with much more possibilities for foreign investments. Secondly, due to specific circumstances, those corrupted persons who privatized enterprises destroyed those enterprises, and many people lost jobs, many enterprises were destroyed, and now we have to recover from it.
So what would be your perspective on this various social protests that we see around the world? Is it a matter of inequality or just a matter of the recession?
Not only recession, but I'm social democrat. That means I see Croatian society, I guess the other people also imagine their societies as a just society. One of keywords.
Can you just speak closer to the microphone?
Yes, okay. One of the keywords of my campaign was justice. I even named it as new justice. That means approach that our patriotism interprets as devotion to economy, science, education, fairness in society, and to overcome situation that just being member of some forces during the war or having flag in the hand, it's enough to be patriot. It's not enough. Patriot is those persons who are working hard, who are paying taxes, and who respect human rights of the others.
So justice is an attractive, banner for politics in Croatia. Do you think it can be an attractive idea in other parts of the world today?
I think the justice is part of human essence. And of course, we consider justice in different manner. It depends on culture, it depends on history, on economical situation, on of the type of the state. But I think everyone would like to see the justice.
Okay, and when the Israeli public went out on the street last summer, hundreds of thousands of them demanding social justice, what do you think they are basically saying to the government or
So
themselves?
I guess the people all around the world basically very elementary see justice and send message to the government because they would like to live fairly well. That means let us work. We need working places. We need salaries that can be fair to educate their kids, to have appropriate flat, and to have at least basic level of standard.
Okay, one last question. How worried are you and how worried should we be all about what's happening in Europe? And are we facing, can we be witnessing a disaster in the next few weeks or months? The scenario for that.
Definitely, I'm always optimist. That means I hope that Europe will recover. And the main answer that we need now is whether the crisis is caused by Europe itself, by European institutions, European policies, European politicians, or the crisis is caused by particular states. So whether the crisis in Greece is caused by European Union or by appropriate economy in Greece, or what should happen if Greece is out of European Union. So the Greece will not avoid the crisis. So my answer is that crisis in Europe is not caused by European institutions themselves, but by weaknesses of particular states. That leads to the answer. The answer to the crisis is not less Europe, but more Europe.
Okay, Mr. President, thank you very much for your time.